Hello, welcome to my review of the movie Parasite. So let's just get straight into it. So in the movie Parasite, I would say there's a big difference between the Park's lifestyle and the Kim's lifestyle. For example, we're able to see how luxury is a very big theme in this movie. Or, like, not luxury, but I would say financial freedom is a very big theme in this movie. For example, the Parks live a very luxurious life, and are comfortable. Money really isn't an issue with them. But when we're looking at the Kims, like the Kims live in this crowded, cramped basement apartment, um, which ultimately, like, stresses them out because they never really know, like, what they're gonna do for the next month, like rent and whatever. So let's talk about how their economic standpoints really affect their point of view. So for the Kims, I would say we can see how difficult it is to achieve financial freedom, or in other words, social mobility, as they go to crazy lengths to move up on the social ladder. An example of this would be replacing all the immediate staff. So replacing the tutor, which was given to Kim Ki Woo, you know, from his friend Min, but then also Ki Jung coming in, and the two parents also coming in as the driver and the maid. Um, I would also say Kim Ki Woo for lying and saying, he had some education behind learning English. Even though he, like, knew English, he didn't have any education, but his friend vouched for him, and so he was able to get the job. I think the movie Parasite gets its message across by highlighting the manipulation tactics that the Kims used in hopes of getting to a better life. So this can be seen from a sociological perspective on how economic disparities really changes people, and shows how people will go to great lengths to feel comfortable, and that's honestly upsetting. Like, the Kim shouldn't have had to gone to, making people lose their jobs just for them to get into that position. um I think the actors played a really great role in strengthening the sociological lens, as we see, like, characters like Kim Ki Woo lying for his family, and lying to his boss overall, saying, like, oh, I know someone who will be able to take care of your son. And then so on. So I can give you guys a couple of examples. Um, so when the Parks mentioned that their younger son needs an art tutor, he offers his sister and says he just knows someone who is qualified, and she comes in and she is doing well. The driver is taking her home. The driver at this point is just, the Park's driver. And she leaves her underwear in the back seat, and this causes a commotion, and she, frames him as a creep. And after she frames him as a creep, she brings in her own family, or her and her brother's family member, their father, and she frames it as, oh, that's my uncle. He's really trustworthy. He's a great driver, whatever. And this allows her and the rest of their family to slowly bring in um, themselves into a higher position. You can also see this when they ambush the maid, and they kind of like fear monger with the Parks, and saying, like, oh, the maid is sick. You don't want your kids to get sick. Let us bring in someone who we know is trustworthy. And so they're kind of controlling, or attempting to control, their environment in hopes of getting to a better economic situation. So I think that imagery adds to this theme of severe poverty, as the Kims faced like, severe poverty in comparison to the Parks. So we're able to see a reflection of how each family's class rank is um, better or worse. Um, for example, like the Parks, everything is super accessible for them. They go on camping trips for people's birthdays. Um, Everything's like very carefree. Money is not an issue with the Parks. You know, I would say like let's take into account when the Parks went for their son's birthday on a camping trip, right? And it started to rain, and they were like, you know what, we're not gonna go camping. We don't want to do this. Like it's too much. So they put in all that money to go camping, realized, hey, it's raining, and were able to come back and not feel like, oh, just blew a bunch of money. But the Kims, in comparison, wouldn't be able to do that. For example, the Kims, when they get home, and one of the scenes, their apartment basement is flooded, and the water is so high that it covers the stairs, and they have nothing but to accept that, their home is flooded, and it was already a shabby home. So imagine like how much more stress that added to their environment. So I think that what helps people understand wealth inequality and poverty from a sociological standpoint is to see how far the Kims really went to get freedom, even if that meant infiltrating someone's house, even if that meant killing people. They obviously, I don't think anyone meant to go and kill people. That's not the story. That's not the plot of the story, but more in the sense like we will do anything for that freedom, just a taste of that freedom.